for downloading this episode of Cork Talk with me, Tim Atkin. A weekly conversation with some of the most famous people in the world of wine. Xavier Rousset fell in love with wine on a family holiday in Collioure. After writing to fellow Frenchman Gérard Basset, one of the world's most famous sommeliers, he got a job for a month at the Hotel du Vin in Winchester and has never looked back. A Master Sommelier at the age of 23, he's now an entrepreneur and businessman running 5 different restaurants in London. But serving customers is still what he enjoys most. Hello, Xavier. Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Tim. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. You're just back from France. You were over there watching the football in France, I think, last night, weren't you?
I was indeed with my parents and my daughters watching the French being beaten by Spain.
I'm very sorry to hear that. Well, half sorry, because, I wanted Spain to win. Sorry, I shouldn't tell you that.
No, they deserve it as well, to be honest.
So you were born in Saint-Étienne, weren't you? And it's better known, Saint-Étienne, for football. Had an amazing football team for a while. Heavy industry, now design, obviously. Any vineyards nearby? What would be the nearest vineyards to Saint-Étienne?
Côte du Forez or Côte Rouennaise. So it's a Gamay land.
Gamay land. So it's the Massif Central, near there, really, yeah?
Yeah. And see, actually, I've been watching the wines for the last 15, 20 years, and the wines are so good now. It used to be a bit rough, but now it's so much better.
I used to live in Clermont-Ferrand, which is not too far away.
Yeah.
And so I drank a lot of those wines, those sort of nice Gamay-like wines. No, non-Beaujolais Gamay, basically.
Yeah. You're right, non-Beaujolais Gamay. But honestly, the work has gone through is I had a bottle from on the weekend from Bonnefoy. I don't know if you know this one, Côte de Forez, La Madone from Bonnefoy. It's very, very good.
Well, next time I see you, we're going to have a bottle. I think we're going to do a bit of
I love Gamay.
A Massif Central, a Gamay tasting. We should do that. So was wine part of your life growing up? Were your parents wine drinkers, foodies?
Drinkers, lunch and dinner as a classic French family. It's on the table. You have a glass. And they give maybe a glass or half glass when I was 15. It's always on the table. So it's there. There's not like, oh, you're too young, you shouldn't drink. And so it's, you get used to it's part of like Italy, I guess, or Spain is very much part of the culture. But none of my family are in the wine business at all.
And none of them were kind of passionate about wine. They just drank
Zero.
it, right?
No. Yeah. It's wine is with the at the table with a bit of food, but they're not passionate. They don't really know the grapes and, where everything comes from. It's just...
And what did your parents do? They weren't in restaurants either, presumably.
They were not. My dad was a stonemason. My mum was a nurse.
Wow, okay.
So nothing to do with wine.
Nothing at all to do with wine. I read somewhere you got interested in wine after a trip to Collioure. Collioure is a beautiful town in the Roussillon. Is that true?
Yes, I went to Cellier des Templiers, sorry. I was 16, and there was this guy who was selling Collioure, or Bagnols, I'd rather say. And we were looking through the window of the winery, and he said, on the left, this is your left, the vineyard on the left is your left glass. The vineyard on the right is your right glass. And the color was different. The taste was so different. And he's like, you're looking at 5 meters apart, and it totally bugged me. I'm like, how on earth those wines taste so different being 5 meters apart? Now I know, looking back, that one was reductive, one was oxidative style of Bagnols, but at the time I have no idea. So I started reading about it, like how come? So I got the bug then. It got me interested.
So you were drinking fortified wines age 16, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but I was with my parents' friends on holiday with the son, who was a good friend of mine. So we all went there, and I remember the dad wouldn't drink. He said, I'm driving, just taste, guys. We were 16 with his son and my mate, and we were tasting it. And but in France, again, Tim, it's kind of normal.
Because these are fortified wines. I mean, they'd have what? Bagnols would have what? 16, 17% alcohol, probably?
Yeah. But you sip, it's not drinking. But honestly, the flavors and the color really got me into learn about it.
Yeah, it's a nice place to fall in love with wine, isn't it? It's so beautiful, that coast. And did that convince you, age 16, that you wanted to work in wine?
No, not quite. I started reading about everything, beer, wine, how it's made and the flavor profile. But at the age of 18, I was doing my A-level, and I said to my parents, I think I'm done. I want to go into the wine industry. And the quickest way was through the restaurant world. So I wanted to learn because, it very much interests me. And my parents were not quite happy. I wanted to leave my education, like A-level, and moving on to do something else. But it was what it was for me. So I decided to look for a way of working in restaurants, learn to become a sommelier. And at the same time, the crazy thing was there was an article in the local paper in Saint-Étienne about Gérard Basset, who was a successful sommelier, opened Hotel du Vin in Winchester, doing very well. And my mom took a cuttings of the newspaper and said, look, if you want to go into wine, you might as well learn English. Look at this guy from Saint-Étienne. You may want to write to him. And you're looking at 97.
How old were you then at this point?
I was 18. 18. So I wrote a letter because nothing else exists. And then no fax, obviously no emails and stuff. So I wrote a letter to Gérard, our Hotel du Vin in Winchester. And I heard nothing. And I wrote a second letter to Gérard saying I wanted to maybe come for 1 month as an experience to learn about wine, but more so about English, to learn English. And then I got a phone call at night. It was Gérard calling to my parents' house and said, look, I read your letter. I'm going to take you for a month in August 97 in Winchester. So I went to Winchester in 97. I spoke no English. I had no idea about how wine was made and so on and so forth. But I went for a month. I fell in love with the whole thing. Gérard was amazing. Hotel du Vin was amazing. And so that was it. I was hooked. And then I started to learn English and learn more about wine. And look, it's how many years now? It's so many years later, 30-odd years.
Well, we'll come back to Gérard, but did you go back to France after the month that you'd done?
So the month, I went back in September, end of August, early September, I was meant to be doing an apprenticeship in the local restaurant near Saint-Étienne, where I come from, which was owned by a 2 Michelin star chef. And the sommelier at the time was Eric Baumard, was a famous sommelier in Paris, Georges V lately. He's retired now. But it was a second restaurant from those guys. And while I was away in August, the restaurant went bust. They closed the restaurant, so I couldn't have an apprenticeship. So I called Gérard again and I said, look, this is what happened. He was a friend of Eric Baumard. And he said, okay, so the restaurant is closed. You can't do your apprenticeship for a year. I said, can I come back? So I went back for 1 year in Winchester, or 9 months. And then Gérard sent me to Saumur for the mention complémentaire de sommellerie. So I spent a year in 98 in Saumur. To do a proper, in a way.
What, studying?
Studying for a year in Saumur, about wine. And then I went back to work for Gérard in Bristol.
So you never really worked in France, or did you? I thought there was a period.
Hardly. Yeah. I did a stage in Le Laurent in Paris for 2 months, and I did a season in Saint-Tropez, Hotel Villa Belle Rose, when it just started. But realistically, I think, I may have only 6 payslips in France. And then 28 years in the UK.
It all happened in the UK, really, yeah. I mean, just before we come back to Gérard, is the profession of being a sommelier taken more seriously in France than it is in the UK? Or has that changed in your time, do you think?
Oh, it's changed in my time, for sure. It was taken seriously back then in France, not so much in the UK. I remember customers asking me, what do I study when I was in Bristol? And I said, no, I don't study. I'm a full-time sommelier. And they looked appalled that I could work full-time as a sommelier when I was 18 or 19. Or even, So they were like, oh, he's a failure, clearly. But at the time, it was not very highly rated. And nowadays, since maybe the last 10 to 12 years, sommelier have been taken more seriously by the consumer.
Yeah.
It's a proper job. I guess some, movies have helped, or not just movies, but, documentaries or so on and so forth.
Yeah, because I think England has done a lot of that. I mean, particularly before Brexit, when it was easier to come here and learn English and train as a young French person or Spaniard or Italian or whatever. I mean, I think a lot of really good French sommeliers have really learned their job in England, as you have. Yeah,
for sure. I mean, the beauty of England is the reason why I think most of those guys from France or Italy or wherever stay, because you get access to Chilean wines, to Argentinian, to Australian, New Zealand. You don't see that in France or in mainland Europe. You hardly see anything. And, so we stay a lot longer and we learn a lot. I mean, everything I've learned, obviously, is in this country about wine.
Yeah. And is it true when you first came, you didn't even know what a G&T was?
No, G&T. I was mimicking to repeat to my barman who understood English better than me. And I said, table 6 is asking for blah, blah, blah. And he's like, G&T, gin and tonic. I'm like, okay, that's what they want. So, but I spoke no English, Tim.
So you had this connection with Gérard Basset through Saint-Étienne, because he was in there as well, big football fan. Then you ended up working for him. So first of all, you were in Bristol. And where did you go from there? Did you stay, or Winchester, then Bristol, was it?
Winchester, then Bristol for 5 years, 1999 to 2005, for 5 and a bit. And then I went to Le Manoir, working with Raymond Blanc at Le Manoir 4 Saisons as a head sommelier from 05 to 07.
Okay, we'll come on to him in a minute, but let's finish with Gérard first of all. I mean, amazing human being. I mean, I miss him almost every day. I mean, he was a great friend of both of ours, a lovely man, and died way too young. What made him so special as a mentor? Because he was a teacher as well as a doer. He was an amazing competitor as well as in competitions.
Yeah, competitor, but he was never imposing the competition into any sommelier that worked for him. I think what Gérard wanted overall that you learn. He wanted to learn himself. That's why he's done so many competitions. So it was all about learning and putting yourself, pushing hard. And also what I loved is he was an amazing teacher, but not patronizing whatsoever. Very humble, never imposed his view. I remember, I was maybe 25, 26 at the time, and helping him to prepare for the best sommelier in the world. And I was like, what do I know? Preparing Gérard to the best sommelier in the world. But he wouldn't see it like that. He would say, no, listen. You got a view that I want to not learn, but see how you think, what you think. I may learn something along the way. So the fact that he always wanted to learn and humble about it was something quite special.
No, it was amazing, wasn't it? I mean, I remember years ago when I was writing for The Guardian, and Robin Hudson, who was the partner with Gérard in the Hotel du Vin, he said to me, you can come and have a night for free in the hotel in Winchester. He said, dinner on us. You just have to teach Gérard. I said, well, he's already won the UK Sommelier of the Year. I can't teach him anything. And they said, he'll always learn something from you. And so
it was amazing.
He became a very good friend. And as you said, that combination of brilliance and hard work and humility was not unique, but very unusual. I think he was an amazing guy. Yeah, I sometimes wonder whether Gérard would have made it in France. Do you think he'd have been as successful in France?
I think what Gérard hated about sometimes the French attitude was the arrogance. So maybe he would have given up on France before trying to make it, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, I think he'd have given up on the arrogance. I love that. So did he encourage you to enter competitions? Because you started to enter them and do rather well, didn't you?
Yeah, no, for me, he never pushed. It was, as I said, it was a way of learning. And for me, it was a way to prove that I was learning well. That was the only reason why I did competition. I'm not that competitive as such, but I wanted to see if I was learning properly amongst my colleagues.
But amazing. You were what, 23 when you won the UK Sommelier of the Year? So you've been doing it, for 5 years? 5
years, yeah. But I was actually talking just earlier with some friends about exactly that, how young it was. But because I'm still passionate, obviously. But at the time, I really wanted to soak up as much information. I was reading about it every day. No day off. On my break, I was almost falling asleep on my books, trying to learn all the maps from, all those atlas over the years. And I've had sometimes 5 or 6 books open on the table, trying to draw maps and learning about, because I was starting from scratch.
Yeah. And
maybe I guess at that age, you're a bit more of a sponge than my age now.
Are you a fast learner, do you think?
I don't think so. But I remember one of the advice of Gérard. He said, look, you need to read a lot and you write. When you read, you need to write it so you memorize it a bit better. And drawing all the maps, having all the little notes, really helped. He was showing me his notes he was doing, preparing for the UK, Europe Sommelier or World Sommelier. He said, "No, that's how I do it. I'm not saying you should do it, but this is why, a good way of doing it." So, and reading, how do you call that? Those little cards. Do you see what I mean? Little, anyway, all the notes you have, bullet points.
Yeah, exactly. Bullet points or something like that. I used to use mind maps. They're quite good, aren't they?
Yeah. So, yeah.
But I mean, and what makes a good blind taster? Because you have to start doing that as well. I mean, doing those. I mean, I once for fun took part in the UK Sommelier of the Year. I was a journalist, and Gérard won it actually that year. And I didn't come last. I came second to last. But it's very hard. It's a pressure situation because you've got to talk about the wines blind. You taste the wine, you have to describe them. Yeah. How did you learn to do that? What makes a good? Because you're a very good blind taster.
Well, no, I think it's tasting, and maybe there's a technique. But to be honest with you, I mean, when I speak to customers, they're like, "How do you know about Sauvignon Blanc and Chardonnay?" I said, "Trust me. Back in the days when I was on the floor tasting 3,000 or 4,000 wine a year, so 10 or 15 a day, of which maybe half of it is Sauvignon Blanc. Trust me, after 1 week, you know what Sauvignon Blanc tastes like. And you know what Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand tastes like. So,
yeah, because everybody orders that, right?
Yeah, well, again, way back, by tasting. I mean, you build your memory like that.
Yeah, I always think there are some people who are naturally very good at it. It's like some people are very good natural musicians, but I don't think I'm one of them. I don't know if you are. I mean, I got good at it just by doing it.
Yeah, 100%. I knew nothing, Tim. I knew nothing. Yeah. But all I knew, I was tasting so much wine. And after a while, you get, there's a flavor profile. Each grape variety should taste like they should from. And, the hardest I've realized is, the grape variety is not always the hardest. The region is one, because the winemaker sometimes changes. But the hardest I found lately is the vintage.
Yeah.
Trying to assess the vintage is by far the hardest.
Well, I mean, when I started, it was much easier to know the difference between New World and Old World, because New World wines were very fruity and usually came from warmer regions, and Old World wines were often from marginal regions if they were classic wines. And now, I mean, you get great Chardonnay, not just from Burgundy, but from Chile, New Zealand, Australia, Spain, you name it, frankly.
Yeah, you name it. Well, we tried the Chinese Chardonnay together.
Yeah, that was amazing, wasn't it?
That was absolutely stunning. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think you're right. In the same year as winning the UK Sommelier, you became a Master Sommelier, didn't you? Was that in the same year when you were 23?
Same year, I was 23, yeah.
And youngest Master Sommelier in the world. Has anybody beaten you since?
No, there's I can't remember his name, from Japan. He was 6 months older than me, I think. Good. He just passed a few years ago, but I think I'm still the youngest.
I mean, that's almost freakish. I mean, were you surprised when you passed?
Again, Tim, back in the days, Master Sommelier meant nothing to many people. Nowadays, it's massive. But back then, in 2002, it was nothing. And I had no pressure. So I just went along again. I've learned my bit. I'm thinking, let's hope for the best. I did my tasting, my theory, and my practical. And I think my practical was not the best, the hardest part of the three. My theory was strong because I've been reading a lot, learning a lot. And tasting, it's always on the day. But I passed. But when you have no pressure, it's
I think you're being very modest, because it has an even lower pass rate than the Master of Wine exam, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, true. I'm definitely not capable of doing MW. I'm nowhere near as academic as I should be to be MW. But I did all. Yeah, I mean, I remember again talking to Gérard. He said, "Look, you've done the UK Sommelier. You need to push for the MS and all. Just go, because you're there. You're pushing on." So I just did, and I was happy I passed. But as I say, it was more to prove to myself than the rest of the world. Because
why are they different exams? I mean, you say it's more to do with tasting and service, isn't it, basically?
Yeah, and it's you need to pass a certain percentage of each part. Where the competition, typically you need to be the best on the day. Yeah. Where MS, you need to have consistency on those three aspects.
Yeah.
So you can be failed at any of the three parts.
And how does it differ from the Master of Wine? The Master of Wine is more essay-based, isn't it?
I have no idea, Tim. I'm not a MW. You would know.
Well, I'm not a Master Sommelier, so I don't know.
Most sommeliers are not academic enough to be MW.
Yeah, maybe.
Some people would kill me by saying that, but I think that's the truth.
Yeah, but Gérard got there, didn't he?
Gérard got it. Yeah, he's one of the.
He did everything. OBE, MW.
Yeah, there's so few MWMS.
Yeah.
And vice versa, MW cannot become MS that easily, because
we're terrible at service.
Yes, service part of it. Yeah.
So your next move, and you've mentioned this, was to work for the amazing Raymond Blanc, the Manoir Quatre Saisons. Was that a step up from Hotel du Vin? Was great, but suddenly you're working at a Michelin star restaurant, yeah? How many did he have 3 stars in the end?
No, two.
2, yeah.
So I was 25. I said to Gérard in 2005, I was like, I want to move on from Bristol Hotel du Vin, and he said, "Oh, you should do some fine dining to put that under your belt." And at the same time, Henri Chapon was working for Hotel du Vin, but he used to be the head sommelier at Manoir. Yeah. And Henri said to Gérard, "Oh, Le Manoir is looking for a head sommelier." And Gérard told me, and I'm like, I mean, no chance I'm going to land the job of head sommelier Le Manoir coming from Bristol Hotel du Vin, which was a brasserie. Even despite that, I went for the job interview, and I managed to get the position, and I was there for 2.5 years. But I learned a lot about wine to an extent, but more so about service. all the
Because
detail
you're
of service.
dealing with a different type of punter. Presumably, they were more demanding or less demanding. People with more money more demanding, or not always.
Much more, yeah, much more. But also, it was much more demanding. But it's all about the expectation, and it's not the expectation of the sommelier doing his job. It's the whole Raymond Blanc to Michelin star. There's expectation. The service needs to be impeccable. So I learned a lot about detail, and I also was managing a team of 12 people. Yeah. So there was two barmen and 10 sommeliers, which I've never dealt with before. It was a small team at Hotel du Vin in Bristol. So I went from 3 people to 12 people to manage in a 2 Michelin star, which I had no idea about all the ins and outs of the gastronomy, that sort of level of detail. So the first 6 months were pretty difficult, if I'm honest.
And you're still only 25 and you're managing this huge...
I was 25, business. Yeah.
That's pretty scary, isn't it?
Yeah, but, I guess being young, you're naive. You have no idea. You just go with it. Looking back, if I were to land the job now, I think I'd be more scared than I was at 25.
Yeah, probably. Just tell us, how has your style as a sommelier evolved? You said you started not knowing anything. You didn't even know what a G&T was. Suddenly you've passed all these exams. But a lot of a sommelier's job is actually on the floor. It's in the restaurant. You've got to serve people, not just win competitions. How did your style evolve? Who did you watch and how did you learn?
Oh, I've never really thought about that this way. The style. I mean, for me, I like people in general. And I try to read the table, which is a skill that comes with a bit of age and maturity on the job, learning when to approach a table, when not to, how to engage. And I think by being open-minded, I was never imposing, and still to this day, I don't impose my taste or my view. I'm listening to what the customer wants. It's more important than, there's a lot of French sommelier being disliked over the years internationally because it's all about them. For me, it's all about the customer. It's, what you want is different than what I want. But with our skill as a sommelier, we can listen and adapt to what the criteria is, the budget is. Yeah. If you prefer oaky wines, I'm not judging. And again, I've learned with Gérard, I said, look, if someone wants a steak with Sauvignon Blanc, that's not your problem. You're not going to teach them that he shouldn't, because who are you? So just listen to the customer. It's about them, not about you.
And how do you read the table? Do you look at what they're wearing? Do you look at the body language? Do you look at who's obviously in charge? And it might well be a woman, not necessarily a man.
No, it's the dynamic of the table, totally. And I've got a good friend of mine now who's involved with my restaurants in London, but he was a customer originally, and he was coming privately and work, and he was behaving very differently. And the first time I approached him as if it was on a private conversation, and I could see his body language. So I learned, okay, don't do that again. When it's work for him, do not engage as warmly or as relaxed as if it was at work. So you learn on the job. There's no school of that for that.
Yeah. Have you ever got a table wrong that you've seen some people come in and thought they're going to be drinking New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc and they order a bottle of Romney Conti or Petrus or something like that?
Yeah, it happened to me at Le Manoir. And the guy said, I don't want to spend much. And Le Manoir is hard to gauge, but I'm like, okay, so I went to back in the, 2005, 6, 35, 40 pounds at Le Manoir, because it was kind of the house wines. And he said, no, I can do a bit more than that. And he ended up saying 150, but for him, 150 was not too much. So it's very difficult, because if they don't give you a figure, what I realized that he was driving an expensive car, staying at Le Manoir for 3 nights, but it's hard. It's hard.
Well, I've noticed that good sommeliers often, if they're recommending something, sort of point at the wine on the list so you can see the price without them telling you the price.
Yeah, we never speak about price, ever. Yeah. You
never speak about price?
No, well, not in, it's embarrassing if you're hosting the table. You don't want the host to tell you how much he's going to spend on a bottle in front of his guest. Yeah. So you just point out on the list, this one, this is, and it's very settled way of doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, when was the last time you went to a restaurant and someone said, this is £75. Do you want it or you don't want it?
No.
More settled than that.
It would be embarrassing, wouldn't it?
Yes.
I mean, so you were at Manoir, 2.5 years running this big team. And 2007, you left and you set up Texture. So it was now your own thing, bold move. Had you always wanted to be your own boss? Had you had enough of looking after other people? But as you got staff again now, you're just the big boss this time, right?
Yeah, no, it felt natural at the time. 28 I was, and I always wanted to be my boss. Yeah, you're right. Might as well, practice for yourself. Practice your skill or your work for yourself. So I did. To this day, I think it could be the hardest that I've done to set it all up with, business partners and so on and so forth. But I don't regret it. But it's good to be naive and young.
Well, it was a success, big success. You got a Michelin star there as well, didn't you? But are there things looking back that you wish you'd known then that you know now, because you run a lot of businesses now, right?
Yeah. Well, look, if I knew what I know now back then, I wouldn't have opened Texture. So I'd rather not think about that. Honestly, seriously.
Yeah. I mean, Texture and your next venture, 2850, which I miss, I used to go there a lot, we're very different. How do you create a wine list for different restaurants? Do all good wine lists have certain things in common, or is it really you looking at individual restaurants saying what will work here?
Well, so Texture was the fine dining, strong on champagne. 2050 was more fine wines on consignment with low margin. It was a concept, I would say. But for me, it has to be obviously quality wines. At the time, I thought maybe a bit of everything for everybody. Nowadays, I focus my list a bit more on regions or be specialized on more than just having a bit of everything. But the price point is important to have every price point, I think, because you don't want to isolate anyone to make anyone feel bad or small because it's only wines at at a high level to start off with. And I get annoyed in London when I go to a restaurant and I see it starts at £80 a bottle. Yeah. It's a bit insulting.
Well, I wanted to ask you that about markups. I mean, we know as well as anybody, it's difficult to run restaurants in London at the moment. And we'll maybe talk about that a bit more in a minute. But what's a fair price for a bottle of wine in a restaurant in terms of markups or cash margins? How did you work in those places and how do you work now?
Look, I think it's also to do with the environment you're in. You don't expect to pay the same if you got a view of the Eiffel Tower as if you're in a basement in Zone 5. So there's a bit to do with that. And actually, for the same bottle of wine, people somehow are quite happy to pay a bit more because it's a special occasion or special place. Yeah. Now, I still get offended when I see markup being more than the 4 times in London, which is the usual counter. Yeah. I see 5, sometimes I see more. Of course, the overheads are huge, talking about those 5-star hotel or whatever. But you need to be it's part of the experience. I remember talking to a fellow restaurateur, and they said, look, at the end of the day, you go in with a budget in mind. You're going to spend X. If the X come from 80% food or 20% wine or 80% wine, 20% food, you spend X, you're happy because that was your budget. Now, sometimes the food in London, to compare with Paris, for instance, is not that expensive. It's got expensive lately, but you don't see those 300 or 400 pound tasting menu you see in Paris. But then Paris wine list, I went to Pierre Gagné a few years ago, 3-star, for €120, you drink a Mathieu Ravenot, Chablis. In London, you can't do that. No, but then you spend 350 quid on food. So at the end of the day, the balance is, you know what I mean? It balances itself off.
And what about BYO? And we're going to talk about the restaurants you run now. Do you find that restaurateurs think BYO? No, because I could be selling somebody a bottle of wine.
No, I used to think a bit more like that, but not anymore because I'm also a customer often. And for me, it's what I call playing the game. So you can bring a bottle, buy aperitif or another bottle from the restaurant, but it's all part of the experience. If a customer feels happy because hopefully the bottle they bring is something they saved, is special, not just something they get to the local supermarket, then it's okay. If they don't play the game and because it's a free BYO night on a Monday, and I've had that over the years where they go to the local Tesco and buy a 10-pound bottle, then it's a bit more offensive for me. But BYO, every places I've got, I run with my business partners and friends, that we are very friendly with BYO.
Yeah. And how much do you charge for BYO? What do you think?
25. Fair? Depends on the restaurant, but 25 to 30 pounds.
Yeah. I think that's fair. And I agree with you. I try and do that if I go somewhere, I'll buy one off the list and bring one of my own, and I always let the sommelier taste it. And as you said, I try and take something that's special, not something that's on the list already.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just tell me how many restaurants you run today, because I certainly lose count. I mean, I know about 3 of them. 5. Just what's the difference between them? I mean, some of them are very focused on regions. You know, Cabot with the Burgundy list.
Cabot is Burgundy. Yeah. Blanford-Comtois is the Rhône Valley. We got 300 or 400 bins of the Rhône. Café Comtois is a coffee shop and a wine bar in Mayfair near Bond Street. It's 140 champagne we have there. Black Book is in Soho. It's a late bar, a wine bar, but not just wine. We do cocktails. And the idea of Black Book is a very fair, talking about margin, this is a very fair price. We buy 2 or 3 bottles. When it goes, it goes. It's all handwritten, and we cross the wine when it's out of stock. So that's that. And I've got a Vinoli and the gun makers in Marylebone. Vinoli is where I am now. It's a chef's table. You got your own cellar, you go on private chef, and then there's a pub upstairs. So it's 5 places.
I mean, which are you proudest of? Is the one that you think, hey, this is really special?
It's like babies, Tim. You can't say. No, but looking back to my texture in 2007, that's maybe the proudest, because that's the first time I set up a restaurant by myself with private investors. So going around, I learned not just about wine and food. It was not enough. So you need to learn about finance, how to raise private, investors and so on. So, once you do it once, it's easier afterwards. But that was maybe in that sense, the proudest moment.
Is that the hardest bit of setting up a restaurant? Keeping it open is pretty hard, isn't it?
Yes.
But just finding the funding at the beginning.
Well, especially when it's your first time around, you have no proven, track record. So it was extremely difficult. Yeah.
And why do so many restaurants fail, do you think? Is it because people don't understand the business?
So I was asking that to Danny Meyer in the US. I met him once and we had a chat, and he made a very valid comment which resonates more than ever now. He said most restaurants, when they open, they don't have any more cash flow. So if the first 6 months doesn't work, they're already in the red. You need to build enough to make sure, because it's hard to a restaurant to hit the ground running. So you need a bit of cash flow and to go through the first year. I mean, look, you said texture was a success. Let me tell you, it was not a success for 2 years until we got the Michelin star. And for 2 years, we were short of cash flow. It was tough. And if we didn't have partners that we did at the time, I think the restaurant wouldn't have succeeded.
It's very similar to the wine business. I mean, you think about English sparkling wine, for example. You get lots of people who put money into something, and then they suddenly realize, hey, we're not going to release a wine for probably 18 months. It could be 5 years if they're waiting for the vines to mature for a start.
Same. You need the strong shoulders.
Yeah. And I mean, is it getting harder, do you think, to run restaurants and make money out of restaurants?
100%. It's the worst I've seen for 20 years.
Really? And why is it so bad?
It's an accumulation of everything, to be honest with you. But even though, you go out, I go out, and it's expensive. London restaurants are expensive. My restaurants are not the cheapest. So it's expensive to go out. And yet it's hard to make it work at the end. So it's a spiral at the minute, all the cost. I mean, I won't bore everybody about that, but it is what it is at the minute,
What are the main challenges? Is it staff costs? Is it food costs?
Staff costs.
Staff costs.
Food costs, you can deal with it, but you need to be careful. If your food prices are so high, you're going to, lose customers. So it's a very fine act, but staff costs at the minute is hard.
Yeah. I mean, could somebody, the new Xavier Rousset, the new Gérard Basset, could they achieve what you guys have achieved? Young French guys coming over in their early 20s. I mean, what were you, 18 when you arrived? Could they succeed in the way that you guys have done today?
I think if you put your mind at it, I think you could, You just need to put your mind at it, and maybe I did 100% of the time. Now you need to do 130% or 150%.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? But in all fairness, like everything, if you put your mind at it, you can succeed, yes.
Yeah. It's just that the hurdles are a bit higher, right?
Yes, exactly that. You need to push harder. It's going to hurt a bit more, but you can do it.
Yeah. I once read an interview where you said that you weren't that fussed about food and wine, actually, which I think is brilliant from a sommelier. I mean, I love that quote. I thought, hooray! That's what I think as well. I'm not fussed about it either.
I am not that fussed at all about food and wine matching. No, because we all got personal preferences. And who are we for as sommelier to tell you that eat that with this? And for me, again, it's back to what the customer feel like, what they like. Because when you come to a restaurant, it's all about an experience for you, not for the sommelier or the owner of the restaurant. So if you prefer Chardonnay with, whatever you want to have it with, venison, that's okay. This is what you like, Chardonnay and venison. So that's okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's your thing about sharing knowledge and not imposing it, right?
No, we're just passing by. We're just intermediate between the winery, the winemakers, or the winery and the chef and what they want. You have to listen. As for me, it's one of the biggest quality of sommelier not to impose, but to listen.
Yeah. Go back to food and wine matching. I know you said you're not that fussed about it. Are there any basic rules you would follow? I mean, if somebody said to you, what are there 2 or 3 rules with food and wine matching that you think are useful, have been useful to you, without wanting to impose them? What would they be?
Yeah, sure. The lighter the dish, the lighter the wine, kind of.
Yeah.
You go from dry to sweet. You don't go from sweet to dry. It's hard. I mean, even though sometimes foie gras and sauté, but in all fairness, for me, it's much more going into like a ladder. You never start your meal with a steak, finishing with a green salad, right? So you follow that. The same apply for the wine. You go from the lighter to the more powerful, slowly but surely. That makes sense for me, despite the food and wine matching. It's just because your palate. If you saturate yourself with a big red wine straight away, and then you finish with a very delicate, whatever that could be, it's going to be tough for the white wine to go after a big Zin or a big Cabernet.
Yeah. And do you have favourite wines and wine regions? I mean, I know you're a big Burgundy fan. You love Champagne. You love Rhone wines. Is it mostly French wines that excite you?
Piemonte. I love Piemonte.
I
love Nebbiolo.
I do too. Right, next time I see you, we should have a Nebbiolo night.
I love Nebbiolo. I used to go once or twice a year to Piemonte. Sadly, lately, I can't do that as often as I want, but I love Nebbiolo. But, Nebbiolo, Pinot, it's...
Yeah. And your least favourite, Sauvignon Blanc, I know about. That's probably all those years of serving Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc. And Pinotage, is that true? You don't like Pinotage?
Yes. Sorry, Tim. I know you're going to kill me. I don't like Pinotage.
Is there somewhere I can change your mind?
Maybe I have too many bad ones. Rubbery and like burnt tire and...
Okay, so I need to find some good ones and bring them around for you to try. Right, okay. Because there's lots of different styles. Yeah, there are lots of different styles. It's like Syrah and Shiraz.
Yeah, you're right. But look, maybe my reference was 20 years ago when Pinotage maybe not as good as it is now.
Yeah, okay. So Pinotage and Sauvignon Blanc are in the firing line. And your favourite grapes would be Nebbiolo and Pinot Noir?
Pinot, Syrah, Nebbiolo, yeah.
So, but red grapes rather than white. Do you have a favourite white?
I drink 7 out of 10 bottles, 7 are red, 3 are white.
Okay. And fizz?
Yeah, fizz. Riesling and Chardonnay, yes, I love for the white, and fizz.
Yeah, I think we're all the same, really. And what about, you're so busy. You're running 5 different businesses. I can't believe it. Do you have time to do anything else?
I travel a lot to France to see my daughters there. So, it's when it's not work, it's family time.
Yeah. And anything outside that? I mean, you like to get away from it by music or reading or...
Yeah, music, traveling as much as I can. Going, hiking is a big word, but walking around, traveling. I think going to different countries.
Yeah.
Meeting different, new people, but not just the wine people. In my family, there's a few people in the music world, which is nice. So it's a different world.
And what's on your bucket list? Where are you going next? Where do you really want to go? You've not been?
Oh, wow. Oh, I want to go back to South Africa. Not just because you're here, but I really want to go to South Africa.
Okay.
And then the bucket list, South America.
Okay. Well, I can help you in both.
Yeah.
I can help you in both. I
will contact you. Don't worry.
Some good people in Argentina and Chile, Uruguay, even Bolivia.
Finding the time is the issue. Yes.
Yeah, and South Africa. So the minute you land in South Africa, we're going to do a new wave Pinotage tasting.
Oh, gosh.
Anyway, sorry about the football last night. I'm sure that there's still a fantastic team, the French team. It's been brilliant talking to you. Keep doing what you're doing. I mean, I don't know how you do it, running all these 5 businesses at the same time, but they're all brilliant. They're all different. And I just think your journey through wine is so inspirational. You started as this 17-year-old kid writing a letter to Gérard Basset twice, and eventually he phoned you up. And that was the beginning of it all, right? It's amazing.
Yeah, a few years ago now. But thank you, team, for having me.
Well done, my friend. And I'll see you very soon.
All right. Take care. Cheers. Bye.
Bye. What an inspiring story. And I love Xavier's comment about reading the table. Next week on Cork Talk, my guest is Katia Nussbaum from San Polino in Montalcino. Join me then. Thanks for listening to Cork Talk. If you want to read more reports, articles and tasting notes by me, go to my website, timatkin.com. You can also follow me on Twitter @timatkin and on Instagram @timatkinmw. See you next week.